JD, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe, please hit like, and let's see if I can describe my current problem I have. So here I've got a Seiko 5. It's a beautiful old watch, and I decided to flip the movement for an NH35 movement, hacking, winding, everything else. So I did that. I think I made a previous video on doing that and flipping the movement, but I did that. And then it's interesting how this thing sits in here. It's sort of a plastic movement that kind of clicks in, right? I haven't been able to change the day on it yet, but the date will change. It's, I think, Arabic and English, the movement. This is a bit loose. So my problem here, this hand here, or this crown here, turns the outer bezel on this thing. So it doesn't do anything but turn the outer bezel. So that's pretty simple. The other hand is a screw-in hand that goes in here, and this is a stem that came with the NH35 movement, right? So I purchased a stem. I just threw it onto an old to a crown I have in my multitude of crowns here, but I purchased a stem that I believe fits in here. Now the problem with this is I can fit this stem in and everything, but this is not a waterproof crown. So what I want to do, I purchased a crown. This is the previous crown, right? And this previous crown had a stem in that will not work with an NH35 movement, so I had to replace that. But this is how the crown fits in. It fits just like this, and it's a screw down crown, right? So I can't reuse this because it's broken off on the inside. Oh, wonderful. I did purchase a crown that came with this stem I just showed you, right? So I can use this stem and crown combination. I just screwed this crown onto the stem for temporary use. But the problem with this one here is that it obviously, the crown doesn't fit into the opening. So here's the opening, there's the crown. It'll not fit, so it doesn't fit into the opening. So the problem I have here, or the solution might be, and I've done this before, is I put this crown in my lathe, and look at the thing fits in the tube really nicely. So it just has to be trimmed down ever so slightly to fit. I think there's enough real estate, enough metal on the edge of this crown. If you look at that, that's a solid crown going in. See the edges there, nice and solid. And I think there's enough real estate on that to be able to trim off a bit of the crown in order for it to fit. So what I'm going to do is pop this crown into one of my lathes, chuck it up, and then take material off the crown until I can get that crown to actually fit and screw in. What I'm not sure of right now is if the threading here is the right size. Will it fit? Not absolutely sure of that either. So this is an experiment. I bought this. The watch is working, as you can see. I've got it sitting there nicely. So I'm hoping I can get this thing working perfectly. And it's for a friend, of course, because my friends show up and they go, "Hey, any chance you can fix my watch?" They got to stop doing that, by the way. Because I have to say yes. I always say yes. And then it forces me to do some repairs that maybe I wasn't interested in doing. But I did. But I'm doing it anyway, and here we go. I think they believe they're giving me the watch as a favor to fix it. So, like, I'm giving you a watch so that you can have the ability to work on it and fix it, the opportunity to work on this watch and fix it. So you should be thanking me. And there's the it came with another a different tube as well when I bought this. So that is the situation right now, folks. I can't remember where I got this stem from. I think this was another watch stem I might have purchased without the crown or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm not sure if this is of any use at all, but I'll put this in here. And let's do some crown trimming on my lathe and see if that actually works. I've done this before. It's kind of tricky when you're doing it with you're spinning the crap out of this thing and you're cutting it with a graver. So this is, you don't want it to get caught when it's doing this. So now I could use a file, spin it and use a file to take material off, and then use a graver at the very end to smoothen it, and then use a very fine sandpaper to give it a bit of a shine. I'll see what happens. Not sure how concerned my friend is, as long as the thing can work, wind, and set. So let's go to the lathe. Alrighty, first thing I did here is I found a chuck that would hold this thing. There's a bit of a gap in there because it's got this little tiny water protection system on the end of the crown, so that's kind of chewing it up. But I'm just going to chuck it up here on this and see if when I spin it I get some conformity in the spinning. And I got to tighten it a bit because I don't want this thing traveling. So let me just spin this and see what I get here. Alright, so it's wobbling a bit, which I don't like. But I may not have a choice here. I could do that and see if that helps any. No. I think I may just end up having to do this while it's wobbling. See if I can trim it down while it's moving around in circles. So here we go. I'm just going to use a plain old file and see if that works on this, but be very careful when I'm doing it. So this is, I believe, a steel. I believe this is steel, so hopefully it is. If it's not, I'm kind of screwed, and I do have more files of different types, and I'm just going to see which one I can use to remove material from this thing and try to fit it back onto the watch. So let's give it a go. And we're off. I think it's removing material. If you look at that, it's scratching. I'm not sure how much material it's moving, but I'm just going to keep going. This thing's heating up a bit. I'm not sure whether this crown is coming out a bit or not, but you just measure this again. Starting to get closer here. It's a matter of millimeters now. I'm kind of watching it too as it's riding out a bit. I may want to push that in a bit as it's heating up, I think, and leave it around there like that, because I can measure my tolerance pretty well like that. I remember last time I did this, I think I actually used a graver and was able to cut material off it, but I'm really concerned about the graver doing that. Maybe I should try a graver and see what happens. What do you think? Should I try the graver? Yeah, try the graver. Alright, so this could either be the smartest or dumbest thing I've ever done, right? So let's see which one it is. But I'm going to have to get this thing spinning pretty fast, and I'm going to take it at a bit of an angle too. So here we go. Alright, that worked pretty good actually. It takes material off nicely. It seems to be a little less harsh than the other technique, but we see how close I am. I still have ways to go here though, like quite a ways to go. So I don't think it's not as efficient as I'd like it to be, but it is taking material off, as you can see. So we'll see how much more I can take off. Spin it fast, baby. All right, back up with the graver. I think I may speed this up for later. Maybe if I move the tool rest down just a bit too might help. Just a bit. A tad, as they say. And I believe a long time ago I bought a knurling device. It's almost in there. A little bit more, folks. A little bit more. Oh my God. I'm going to sharpen this up again. I got a plate I use to sharpen it, so I'm going to take the plate and see if I can put a bit of an edge on this thing again. So. Wow. Wow. What a job. All right, check the fit again. Oh my God, folks. I'm telling you, I'm going to speed this up. Oh yeah, look at that. It's starting to fit here. It's starting to fit. Finally we're getting close. There's a lot of material taken off this crown. A lot. Let's check this again. I know we're getting really close here, so We're almost done. There we go. And I look at that, I get a bit of side shake on that thing. So now I think I can take this off and see if it'll fit inside the watch. So here we go. Alright, now I need to clean some of the shavings off this thing here. I think I probably had this running already, but I believe I've had success. So I'm going to show you that in 2 seconds after I clean off the shavings on this lathe, because it's a bit messy. And I may have to take my pants off and shake them outside. Alrighty then, there's the watch. And here's the adapted crown, as you can see it. And let's see if it fits in here. And I just push that in like that. And there it is. And then see if it screws in. And it does. Thing of beauty, folks. Thing of beauty. Now the only thing that's wrong with this crown, it says Seiko on the end, which is nice, but the only thing wrong with this crown is that it's out too far. I don't know if my buddy cares about that or not. In order to bring it in more, I'd have to either cut it off, trim it, or do something with it to get it in more. But it's functional this way. He may like it like this, who knows. It's kind of unique, right? And I may want to knurl it. So I got to figure out whether I'm going to be knurling this or not. But if you look at the spacing there, that was absolutely perfect right there. So I am going to see if I can install the stem in this and get her done. Get her done. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do here, which I've done already, is screw this in as far as I can by hand, so it's not kind of going any tighter than it needs to be. And I'm going to see if I can fit this into the watch movement. I know when I fit this in the watch movement, there's a small button that comes out, or that's right there, that would stick out from this movement when you put it in. So I'm going to see if this will go in for me with any luck. I'm hoping for luck here. Okay, there we go. So now that's in the movement, and if I pull it out here, there we go. That's this, and one more I think is setting the time, and there it is there. So if I turn this around, let me do this again. I got this a bit in foggy mode, so foggy mountain breakdown mode here. So there it is there. So now it's in time setting mode, I think. Yeah, it is. So let me just set the time on it. And it's a hacking movement. So this is going to be set to 4:31, 4:30 something. 4:31, I think. 4:31, like that. Now I know the distance I've got to cut this back, because this has to go all the way into there. So you don't want to cut it too much. That's never good. So I need to measure this a bit, and then I need to trim it, and then measure, trim, measure, trim. So here's, I've got a caliper here that I can use to measure this. So I also have another device that might even be better. So this device is a compass. I picked this up at a local hardware store. It's called Cordon Tools, or Cordon Tools. So let me see if I can zoom in on that area there. Is that zoom inable? A little bit. So I know this part of the crown has to be all the way in here. So I know I have to trim that stem back considerably to get it in there. So what I'll do is, right now I don't want to trim it too far back. So I'll trim it about this far back for now to see how tight it'll go in. And then, so now I just have to take this much off the stem, because the stem is inserted all the way in here. So I take this much off the stem, and that'll allow that to go all the way in. A little correction there. So this needs to be in the running mode. So if this is pushed all the way in, which it is right now, so it has to take, I have to take this much off the stem. So I'll try with this much and see where I get. Now to remove the stem on this watch, you just have to press this little indentation right here, like that, and then the stem comes all the way out. And then I need to clip that stem, and I know it's in as far as it needs to be, so I just have to back this off now, and I'll use Loctite on that stem once I get it in. And I need to clip almost this much off the stem. That scares the hell out of me, by the way. So Let me look at the old watch stem too. This is always a measure twice, cut once situation with watch stems. You don't want to screw this up because you won't have a second chance. So I'm just going to screw this in lightly here. It only goes in that far, which is kind of weird, but that's as far as it goes in. So that's fine. Someone's trying to get a hold of me, I think. So I'm going to mark that. I'm going to mark it right there. There's a little tiny mark on that stem now, and that's where I'm going to do my first nipping, and then I'm going to put it all together again and see what it looks like. I keep getting these messages though. There, I snapped that off the stem. They snap pretty easy on these watches. So now I just have to file it a bit and then put it in. I'm going to file it with one of my diamond files. I'm going to hold it very close to my face to file it, but I want to make sure that this is, I guess I'll file it right here, and we'll focus out a bit and see if I can get a better shot for you. There we go. And I want to file this flat and then file the edges up just a little bit. And this is a diamond file, so it should work really well. There we go. So that's flat, and now just file just a bit of the edges so it doesn't catch as it's screwing in. Just like that. That should do, hopefully. Let me see if that fits. If it wants to accept it. It does. So that's really good. And now I'm turning it, and the whole thing is turning. So now it's time to see whether this will fit inside the watch again. So now I'm just going to push this in like this. And I believe all I need to do is push it in to set it. I don't think I need anything to do anything special here. I could press that little button down to make life a little easier for the watch. Let me just see if I can do that. Press that little button down, and then the stem should go all the way in. I'm not sure if that's all the way in or not, but maybe it is. Yeah, it is actually. So I got some distance to go here. I was kind of chicken, but I know I'm able to wind the watch like that. So I still need to cut off more stem. So let me see. How brave do I want to be? So if I look at the distance here that I need to go, it's about that far. So I can cut off this much, and there's also some compression when you screw it in, so it allows the stem to compress as it's going inward. There's a slight bit of compression on this. So there it is there. So I want to make sure that compression actually works. So I want to take off maybe that much of the stem right there. There we go. Yeah, that much of the stem. So now let me press the button again. It's in winding mode, so that's all good. I should be able to press the button and just remove the stem straight out. That's good. And then again, I hand tighten this, so no Loctite on that yet. And then I've got to take off this much of the stem. So I'll get my marker out again, and I'll just give it a rough dot here on where I need to do this. And again, I should be zooming in for you so you don't get mad at me. So it's a bit of a zoom there, and I just touch it right. Come on, don't be nasty on me here. I think I'll just lay this down next to it. Like that. Hold the stem down so it doesn't move, and then put my dot down. So I think right there is good enough. Like that. And again, I'll take my... If I screw this up, I need to get another stem. I'll take my cutters here, and I'm going to just nip it. So let me zoom out a bit here so it focuses for you. There it is there. And so I want to nip it right about there. Right about there. Hopefully that's not too much. I'll leave a little bit for filing. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. Done. It snaps that off. And now, same as last time, grab my file. I want to do the end just a bit, like that. My fingernails are long for playing guitar, as I said before. I'll do a little bit on the end now, and then I want to do around the edges. I just have to do a bit in order for this to go in smoothly, so there's nothing that's kind of preventing it from going in properly with the thread. The other thing I can do is hold that into in a pin vise and do it, but I think this is good enough for now. And take my crown again and put that in, and pray for nice screwing into the threads that catches the threads properly. I don't think it is. I may have to do a little bit more work on that, because it doesn't seem to be catching the threads. Oh, there we go. There, it caught the threads, and then I turn it hand tight, because I'm going to put some glue on there after. And now let me just give you another close-up here as I zoom in. There we go. Now I put the stem in like this again, and I'm going to press the button to make it easy for the stem, like that. There we go. That's almost all the way in. Now you see I get a bit of compression there, but I do not have enough to actually wind this on. I don't want it to be this tight. So again, I'm going to take off, and I've got my thingamajobby doohickey here, and I'm going to take off around this much, and that'll allow me to catch the threads on the watch here, and it'll allow the crown to compress inward to give it some waterproofing. So that's not bad. So let me do this again. Take my thingamajobby doohickey and press down on the little button again. Pull the stem out. Here we go. Move that out of the way. Go back a bit. I just hand unscrew it. In this case here, I'm taking off so little. If you can see that, I'm taking a little tiny bit off the end. I'm nipping that off. I might be able to mark that. Let me just mark the end. Just dab it with my marker here. There we go. So I've dabbed it with my marker, and we'll see if that's enough by comparing it with the compass here. That's about right. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to have all these little watch parts everywhere in my room. And it's right about there. I'm going to look really close here with my flip over lens, because I don't want to take too little and I don't want to take too much. I think right about there should be fine. And then with a quick snap, like that, that snaps it off. And now I want my final filing to be really good for this, so I'm going to get in a little bit close on this. And so if you see my head or my nose, I apologize, but I want to make sure that this is done perfectly. That's pretty good there, and just go around a bit on the knurling here. I was going to pin vise this up, but I've decided not to. I just want to make sure I get a little bit of this on the end. And that's from snapping it off. You want to make sure that you don't have any leftover threads or anything that are going to get in the way of the watch closing nicely. That's not bad there. A little bit of Rodico on there. Now I just need to put that in. Let me see. Flip up my glasses out of the way. I'm going to screw this in. The wrong device there. Let me just screw that in here. And is that screwing in? Yeah, there we go. So that's there. Hand tight again. Let it spin around in my fingers. I'll clean that and oil it in a second, but push it in like this. And look at that. And if I turn this like this, it's winding right now. But if I try to tighten that, is that going to tighten? There. That's tightened now, and that's in perfectly. So there it is there. Tightened and in perfectly, so I just need to get out some stuff to glue this. So let me just unscrew it here a bit. Like that. And then pull that out. It might be too much. It did screw all the way in though. I want to give it a hand when I take it out. I don't want it to stress itself, so get out the needle so I can just pull the stem out like that. And there we go. So now all I need to do is glue that in. It is in pretty far. I'm not sure whether I want it to be that bouncy when it goes in like that, because it's in pretty far. So it was in at least that much. I may want to take just a tiny bit off the end, just a little tiny bit off the end, so it has an easier time screwing in. Like that much. And that'll have a much easier time screwing in now, because I got it all the way in, no problem. But my friend's likely not going to go diving with this watch, so I'm not too concerned. And there was enough real estate on those threads to go all the way in. I just didn't want too much compression there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just hold it and go away around with my hand here, so I know where I am. And then I just want to make sure it goes in, so I'll put it in and take it out again. That's in like that. Take it out like that. Now I'm going to put some Loctite on it. Alright, this is medium strength Loctite. I don't want the super strong in case I have a problem there, so it shouldn't need more than medium strength. And in this case here, I just want to take the Loctite, because it'll come out pretty fast, put it on a piece of watch paper, and then take that and touch it onto the thread, and that'll be enough to keep it from coming out. So I take this here and I'll just touch that on the end here, and that'll keep this thread from peeling out on me. And put that back on, nice and easy. And again, hand tight. I don't need to go any further than that. It doesn't want to go deeper than that anyway. So that's hand tight. And then I get the watch out. And let's zoom in a bit. There's the watch. And I'm going to dip this in Rodico for a second just to make sure I got all the human off of it. Alright, I don't really need any oil on this because it's so dainty and small. And let's see if I can just push this guy right in. What do you think? There it is. So now, when I screw it in, it's unscrewed right now. So let me just put the cap on this watch here. Right? And I'm going to just put the case back on. Tighten it by hand and then turn that around, and you'll see that right now it's in winding mode. And then if I pull it out a little bit, I think it's in date right now, so you can see the date changing here. And I pull it out a little bit more, like that, and it should be in setting mode right now. There we go. It's funny, it needs to lock in, so I know that Loctite will do its job after, so I'll tell my buddy not to turn the watch backwards, please. It's in setting mode right now. And then if I turn that, push that in there, that's winding the watch. And then I push it all the way in like this, and it's going to catch the threads on the watch like that and go all the way in like this. So there we go. So that's pretty cool. So that's in now, and that's the Seiko, the new Seiko Crown on this watch. It's kind of an adaptation on it. So now I could do knurling on this again to make sure it's well knurled. So I'll likely do a bit of that to make sure that I've got no issues there. So that's it. That's for the Seiko, and that's for just adapting a Seiko crown to fit in here. If I hunted enough, I could find an exact crown for this, but this is my buddy's really old watch. He doesn't really care. I put an NH35 movement in it right now, so it's going to be working a lot better than his old movement. And I didn't bother fixing any of his oil rig marks on this because he used to have it on the oil rig. So he'll think this is pretty cool. So I think it's cool anyway. So that's it. So I'm JD. Thanks for watching my channel, and please stay tuned for more videos in the future.